A silence has fallen over the world, but beneath it, a hidden clock has already begun to strike. Not a war, not a famine, something far more dangerous. A warning of the rapture that almost no one has seen. It doesn't shake the ground. It doesn't thunder in the sky. It whispers. And the whisper is already turning into a roar. Why would Jesus start his prophecy not with earthquakes or fire, but with deception? Why would Paul insist that before the return of Christ there must be a great falling away? And what does it mean for you right now, if those very signs are no longer future, but present? This is the paradox almost no one dares to face. The end doesn't begin with chaos outside. It begins with compromise inside. And the risk couldn't be greater. Because if the hidden warning has already started, then the line between being taken or being left behind is closer than you think. Stay with me. In this video, we will uncover the forgotten scriptures, the prophecies ignored by preachers, and the signs most Christians have already missed. You'll see why the hidden rapture warning is not coming. It has already begun. And by the end, you'll know what it truly means to be ready. If you love discovering the secrets of the scriptures and don't want to miss the next revelations, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell. Thank you so much for being here with me. Jesus didn't begin his prophecy about the end times with wars or earthquakes. His first words were sharper than a sword. Take heed that no one deceives you. Matthew 24:4. That's the hidden warning almost everyone misses. He pointed first to deception, not disaster. The real danger isn't outside in the chaos of nations. It's inside the walls of faith, creeping in quietly, shaping hearts without them even realizing it. And that silence is deadly because it looks like truth. Deception doesn't come with horns and darkness. It comes dressed in light. It smiles. It quotes the scriptures, but it bends them just enough to turn life into death. That's why Jesus later said, false Christs and false prophets will arise to deceive, if possible, even the elect. Matthew 24:24. Think about that. Even the elect. This isn't about obvious evil. It's about counterfeit faith, sermons polished to impress, but hollow of the spirit. That is the hidden warning already unfolding before our eyes. Picture a ship at sea. The sailors fear the storm above, but the real killer is the tiny crack below. Water seeps in, drop by drop, until the ship is doomed. That's how deception works. A church can look strong on the surface, the music, the lights, the words. But if the foundation shifts from scripture to sensation, it's already sinking. The danger isn't sudden collapse, it's the slow leak of truth. That's why this warning is so urgent and so hidden. And here's the chilling part. Deception feels safe. It feels sweet. It feels like the message you always wanted to hear. That's why so many embrace it. The prophet Jeremiah faced the same battle. False voices promised peace when destruction was near. Jeremiah 6:14. His words burned, theirs soothed, and the people chose the soothing. History repeats. What looks comforting may actually be the knife at the throat of faith. Think of medicine on a shelf. One bottle is plain, bitter, but healing. The other is colorful, easy to swallow, even sweet. Which one do most people grab? The attractive one. But it's poison. That's how false prophecy spreads. It's marketed better, it feels better, but it kills the soul. That's why the scriptures insist, test everything, hold fast what is good. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. The hidden warning is simple. Don't let your taste decide what you call truth. And Jesus didn't say deception might happen. He declared it will. He placed it as the first sign of the end. That means the countdown to the rapture doesn't start with thunder in the sky. It starts when truth is exchanged for illusion. And if the very first warning is already alive today, what's the next step in the prophetic chain? The Apostle Paul didn't leave the church guessing about what would happen before the rapture. In 2 Thessalonians 2:3, he gave a clear sign. That day shall not come except there come a falling away first. The falling away, the great apostasy, is not about the world ignoring God. That's nothing new. It's about those inside the house of faith slowly abandoning the heart of the scriptures while still wearing the clothes of religion. And that is the sound already echoing in our generation, though most prefer not to hear it. Apostasy isn't loud. It doesn't always look like rebellion. It looks like comfort replacing conviction. It sounds like sermons stripped of repentance, pulpits turned into stages of motivation, worship turned into performance. Paul described it in 2 Timothy 4:3. For the time will come when people will not endure sound doctrine, but having itching ears, they will accumulate for themselves teachers to suit their own passions. That's not an outside rebellion. That's an inside exchange. Truth swapped for convenience. Imagine a symphony. At first, the orchestra plays in harmony, every instrument aligned with the conductor's baton. But then slowly, certain instruments begin to play softer, out of tune, blending dissonance into the melody. Most listeners don't notice right away because the performance continues. But the music is no longer pure. That's apostasy. It doesn't silence the church, it changes her song. And the scriptures tell us this change must come before the rapture unfolds. The danger is subtle because it appeals to what we want to hear. Who doesn't prefer promises of prosperity over warnings of judgment? Who doesn't prefer smooth words to sharp ones? But the prophets consistently declared that when people only hear what they desire, they are already drifting. Isaiah spoke of those who said, "Speak to us smooth things, prophesy illusions." Isaiah 30:10. Apostasy is not the silence of heaven, it's the applause of crowds cheering a gospel that no longer saves. Let's bring this closer to daily life. Picture a doctor telling a patient with a deadly illness, "You're fine, no need for treatment, just keep smiling." The patient leaves feeling encouraged, but inside, the disease spreads unchecked. That's exactly what happens when the scriptures are watered down. People feel uplifted, but they're left unprepared for eternity. Apostasy comforts the flesh, but it condemns the soul. And this is the sound Paul warned about. Not rebellion outside the church, but compromise inside it. Here's the sobering reality. Apostasy is not coming. It has already begun. And if the prophetic calendar declares that this must happen first, then every compromised message we hear today is not random. It's the tick of a hidden clock counting down. If deception was the first warning of Jesus, apostasy is the echo that confirms it. And once this echo grows louder, what comes next in the prophetic sequence? When the prophet Daniel sought to understand the visions of the end, he was told something astonishing. "But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase." Daniel 12:4. That statement is like a sealed clock, a divine countdown, hidden in plain sight. Unlike a human calendar, this clock doesn't tick in days or years, but in prophetic signs. The question is, are we listening to its rhythm, or are we too distracted by the noise of the world to notice that it has already begun? The growth of knowledge isn't just about technology, though that is a visible part of the prophecy. It's about accessibility. The scriptures, once confined to scrolls in a temple, are now in the palm of every hand through digital screens. Millions have access to prophecy, commentaries, and interpretations at a speed Daniel could never imagine. Yet the irony is haunting. Knowledge increases, but wisdom decreases. People know more about information than ever before, but discern less about truth. This paradox is the tick of prophecy unfolding in silence. Think of it like a clock hanging on a wall in a quiet room. At first, no one notices it, but the more you focus, the louder it becomes. The prophetic clock works the same way. It doesn't shake the earth with each second, but it steadily moves forward. Signs of acceleration, from global communication to worldwide unrest, point to the fact that the clock is no longer still. The time of the end is not a distant idea. It is a schedule already in motion. Daniel was told to seal the vision because it would only make sense at the appointed time. That implies that certain truths remain veiled until the generation meant to see them awakens. And here we are, a generation with unmatched access, yet also unmatched confusion. People are searching, running to and fro, not only across the earth but across endless digital platforms, trying to piece together the mysteries of life and eternity. That restlessness itself is a marker of the prophetic clock ticking. Let's make it practical. Imagine standing in a train station. You don't see the train yet, but you hear the faint rumble on the tracks, and you feel the vibration beneath your feet. That's what prophecy is like. You don't need to see the rapture itself to know it's approaching. The vibrations are already underfoot. The surge of false doctrines, the restlessness of nations, the explosion of knowledge without wisdom. The train is on its way. The question is, are you ready when it arrives? And here lies the sobering mystery. The world mocks, saying, "Where is the promise of his coming?" 1 Peter 3:4. But the prophetic clock doesn't stop because people doubt it. It ticks regardless. And with each silent beat, it moves closer to midnight. If the increase of knowledge and global restlessness signal that the clock is alive, then what does the next strike of midnight reveal for those who claim to belong to God? The Apostle Peter delivered one of the most unsettling truths in 1 Peter 4:17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God. That statement shatters illusions. Before the world trembles under divine wrath, the refining fire starts with those who claim his name. It means the first wave of accountability is not aimed at nations or unbelievers, but at the church itself. That's the hidden warning many refuse to face. The shaking has already begun inside the sanctuary. Think about it. A courtroom doesn't start with the accused strangers. It begins with those closest to the judge, those expected to know better. That's exactly the picture Peter paints. God examines his people first, exposing motives, testing hearts, stripping away appearances. The prophetic warning here is clear. What looks like collapse in the world is nothing compared to the silent trials already happening among believers. The storms outside only reveal the cracks already inside. Judgment in the house of God is not always about dramatic scandals. Sometimes it's the slow unveiling of hypocrisy, the exposure of double lives, the burning away of shallow faith. Jesus warned in Revelation 3 that lukewarm believers would be spit out of his mouth. That's not a message to the world. It's a letter to the church. And today, churches filled with activity but empty of fire stand as proof that judgment has already started. The flame isn't just for punishment, it's for purification. Imagine gold being refined. The fire isn't there to destroy the gold, but to burn away the impurities hiding in it. That's the image of divine judgment inside the church. It feels painful, humiliating, even devastating at times. But the purpose is always to separate the genuine from the counterfeit. And this refining process is not optional. It's prophetic. The rapture will not sweep away everyone in the pews. It will reveal who was truly anchored in Christ and who was only anchored in routine. Let's make this real. A person can sing hymns, read the scriptures, and even preach prophecies, but if their foundation is pride, comfort, or recognition, the storm will reveal it. The hidden warning is that the storm isn't coming someday. It's here now. Every trial, every exposure, every shaking in the church is a form of judgment beginning at the house of God. And if God starts here, what does that say about what is still coming upon the world? This is why Peter didn't end with comfort, but with a question. If it begins with us, what will be the end of those who do not obey the gospel of God? 1 Peter 4:17. That question still hangs in the air. If the church is already under the fire of refinement, what does that mean for those outside? And if judgment has already begun among God's people, then what stage of prophecy is waiting just beyond this refining flame? When Jesus spoke of the end times, his words often narrowed from global signs to personal responsibility. In Luke 21:36, he gave a command that cuts through every distraction. Watch therefore and pray always that you may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. This is the heart of the hidden rapture warning. It isn't primarily about world events, but about the condition of your own heart. The countdown is collective, yes, but the preparation is deeply personal. The truth is sobering. No one can borrow readiness. You can't inherit salvation from your parents. You can't purchase it with church attendance, and you can't outsource it to a preacher or prophet. The parable of the 10 virgins in Matthew 25 makes that painfully clear. 5 were wise, carrying oil in their lamps. 5 were foolish, assuming they could depend on others. When the bridegroom came, it was too late to share. That's how the rapture will divide, not between churchgoers and outsiders, but between the prepared and the unprepared. Personal preparation doesn't mean living in fear. It means cultivating a daily walk with Christ that cannot be faked. Reading the scriptures, not just as a duty, but as nourishment. Praying, not as a ritual, but as communion with God. Living out prophecy, not as theory, but as guidance for choices in real life. It's like exercise. No one else can do your push-ups for you. In the same way, no one else can build your faith. It must be lived, breathed, and carried within. Think about your own daily rhythms. Many invest hours in news, sports, or entertainment, yet starve their spirit. Imagine if even a fraction of that time was spent in the Gospels, in Psalms, in Revelation. Imagine the strength built by simply starting each morning with prayer, even 5 honest minutes of surrender. These aren't heavy burdens. They are oil for the lamp. They are the difference between being awake or asleep when the midnight cry comes. And here is the mystery few notice. Jesus never promised the rapture would give a warning siren. He spoke of it as a thief in the night, sudden and unexpected. That means the call is urgent, not later, not tomorrow, now. The hidden warning is that the preparation isn't about reading signs in the sky, but responding to the whisper in your spirit. The tug you feel to draw closer, the conviction you sense to let go of sin, the urgency to pray, that is the voice of preparation. Ignore it, and you risk everything. This is why Jesus' words strike so personally. Be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Matthew 24:44. It isn't a group project. It's an individual calling, one no one else can answer for you. And if that calling is already pressing on your heart, then the rapture is not just a future event. Its shadow is already falling across the present. Which raises the ultimate question: if the hidden warnings have already begun, how close are we to the final moment when the heavens open? You've just seen that the hidden rapture warning isn't a mystery locked in the future. It's already unfolding before our eyes. Deception spreading in the name of truth. Apostasy rising inside the church. A prophetic clock silently ticking. Judgment beginning at the very house of God. And finally, the personal call that no one else can answer for you. So let me ask you, if these signs are already here, what does that mean for your life? Are you building on sand or on the rock? Are you living on borrowed faith or carrying oil in your own lamp? If the heavens opened today, would you be taken or left behind? This is not about fear. It's about awakening. The scriptures don't expose these truths to terrify you, but to prepare you. And preparation always begins with a choice. What choice will you make after hearing this warning? I'd love to know your thoughts. Which part of this message spoke to you the most? Leave your comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you won't miss the next revelations, and like this video to help us keep bringing you these biblical prophecies and scriptures in depth. Reflect carefully, stay alert, and never ignore the whispers of the Spirit. For the trumpet will sound, and only those prepared will rise. And may God bless you, guide you, and keep you ready until that day.